You have this story where you share your journey as a young girl growing up in a black family where your father was incarcerated for 30 years when you were still a baby at the age of 1. And so you live your entire life without this man in the family, not even truly understanding how much the family suffers from this. You have a mother who was giving up everything to raise you and your family. And at the same time, you talk about how she was verbally abusive and what your relationship was like with her. How hard was it for you, and why did you think it was necessary to explain to the reader how tough her life was, what her experiences were, but then still be in a position to say, oh, but she didn't, give me what I needed all the time as a child in an emotional sense?
When I set out to write this book, one of the things that was really important to me was that nobody was truly a hero or a villain in the course of the book, because I wanted to write something that was true and something that was real. And the truth of the matter is, superhumans and superheroes are called super for a reason. And it's because they're separated from their humanity. And we are not. We're human beings 24/7 all the time, every day, which means our capacity for human good and human evil is always, always, always on the same spectrum. Nobody gets out of that. Nobody gets away from that. And I think that it's time, especially in communities like the community that I come from, where I was raised, that we can share complicated stories about our lives and about each other, and understand that it's not stripping us of our power or our agency or our humanity to do so. It is affirming it. It's validating it. Because the more we pretend that, all good people have never done a bad thing and all bad people have never done a good thing, the more we are sowing a division within ourselves that is unsustainable.
One of the more heart-wrenching examples of that in the stories is of your father's journey in your life. Your father was incarcerated for committing rape, and he was guilty of it. And you had this really complicated relationship with him, because here's this man who's your father, who's not just done something heinous, but also abandoned your family because of his actions. And yet you talk about your journey of having to learn how to forgive him. And I mean, how do you even begin to forgive somebody like that, especially when you haven't known them your entire life?
You decide what you can forgive them for and what forgiveness means to you. I knew that I could not forgive my father for what he did to someone else. That's not my place. That's not my goal. That's not my intent. It can't be done in reality. But I knew that I could forgive him for how his actions had affected my life and the life of the people I know, and how that indirectly affected me and affects us all now. And, my definition of forgiveness is pretty purely giving up on the idea that things could have been different.